For more on the water crisis, we're joined by Jennifer Molwantwa, CEO of the Water Research Commission. Jennifer, good to speak to you. Appreciate your time. Now, when the WRC says South Africa's current demand for water already exceeds supply, what does that mean for the average South African opening a tap today?
Thank you very much, and good evening from Bangkok, Hugo. When South Africans are talking about the water demand, we are talking about all of those water needs that are there, including what we call the reserve, which is your base flow in the rivers and what is used to sustain the biodiversity. And when we talk about having to reduce our demand, we're saying that over the last 10 years, we have seen a trend where we are growingly and increasingly utilizing more and more water, both from areas that receive a lot of water, but also from areas that do not even have a lot of water. We can recall when we had the day zero in Cape Town, that experience when people had to change their behavior. And knowing what we know from research about 2030 that we will run out of water, we are planning to work together with South Africans, with government and business to change our behavior and relationship with water to one that is sustainable and conservatory by nature.
Jennifer, how did we reach this point? Is it mainly a story of climate and drought, or is it more about governance failures, aging infrastructure, and potentially our behaviour as users?
The critical part that we all must understand is the different role players within the water space have got a role to play. But in the main, the old aged infrastructure, poor maintenance, poor rate of replacements, poor operation and maintenance as a result of the municipal systems where we are having on average at least 37% of water losses. That is highly expensive treated water from your water boards being sold to municipalities and not reaching the people that it's supposed to reach. So in areas where we have got more dense settlements and a growing urban population, it means that the water that's available is not able to cover everyone. But most importantly, we have to acknowledge the role of those people that can afford water and they just decide to go about the business and use as much as they want to because they can afford, and not understanding that they are actually utilizing somebody else's equitable share. Water is a finite resource and we all have to share it for us to be able to survive as a nation.
Now, one of the things that we need to talk about is what is it that we need to do? And let's go back a couple of years to Cape Town approaching day zero. They seem to have dealt with it. Did they deal with it adequately? Are there any lessons to be learnt from the Cape Town experience?
Definitely, lessons to be learned is that when you have consistency in messaging and clarity and open communication, people are well and easy to buy into the idea. But also the threat to human life, the risk to your life is one of the key drivers that will make humans want to protect themselves. And therefore, we've seen that during that crisis time, this became a new behavioral pattern. It was most of the people unlearned what they knew and their relationship with water and started following the regulations because then this was a matter of necessity. And we believe that as we also continue on this campaign that we're starting, launching and being supported by business, by the public as well as government, we should create new habits and new ways of relating to water so that into the future we can have sustainable water that can go around. I always give an example of Windhoek, who are our neighboring country. I mean, it's a desert. They do not have a lot of water. They reclaim and reuse water. And when you can see, nobody's dying because of thirst. Of course, when there's droughts, then some of those situations happen. But in the main, they are able to regulate and use what they should use sparingly so. This is very much important because with the threat of climate change, as we're experiencing it already, we're having floods, droughts that have been never have occurred before. So it's really a challenge for us to adequately respond to such disasters. Therefore, we must acknowledge that water and air are the two basic needs that we will need in the case of any of these disasters and must be taken seriously.
Jennifer, I've got literally 60 seconds for you to wrap up this conversation, and I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about the A Water-Wise Nation Act Today, Sustain Tomorrow campaign. What are its main goals and what are the practical tools that you're putting in people's hands to change this behaviour?
Thank you so much and for that question. Our Water-Wise campaign, as I have indicated, it is one where we're wanting to have a conversation as a collective, people, business and government, and ensure that together we change our behaviors around our relationship with water. We're calling on business, big and small, for whatever processes that you have, always go for the most water-wise one. We are talking to our farmers. As you irrigate during the day, a lot of that water just goes and evaporates into the air. Utilize before sunset and after dusk for you. So it's all those practical things that need to be done. But in the main, we have to tackle the issue of non-revenue water, the aging infrastructure in municipalities, and the decisions that are being made by sometimes people that are not so technical in the water space. And for me, that is what is key. Thank you very much, Shibo.
Jennifer, appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. Dr. Jennifer Molwantwa, CEO of Water Research Commission.